Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name's Hannah and boy oh boy do we have a wild ride to go on together today. The multi-level marketing company Monat is crumbling from the inside out. There is a whole timeline of scandals and panic and public terminations and lawsuits and cult tactics over the past couple months that signal to me that the beginning of the end is upon us. Monat is going down and I've never been so thrilled about something in my entire life. Monat was the very first MLM company I ever talked about on my channel way back in 2020, and I've been covering their downfall ever since. All the drama that's been playing out has been beautiful to watch, and for the most part, I've kind of just been sitting back, screenshotting, collecting evidence, and spending an ungodly amount of time working on these video notes because I would love to bring you a nice, neat, one-stop shop type video where you can get the lowdown on all the drama that's been going on all in one place. I do anticipate this is going to be one of the longest videos I've ever created. This is certainly the longest script I've ever written. I've put nearly 40 hours of work into preparing for this video, and that's not even including the filming or editing time. There is so much drama I can't wait to catch you up on. But before we dive into it, I would love to give a huge thank you to the Paired app for sponsoring today's video. If you watch my channel regularly, you know how much I love the Paired app. I've been using it for years, even before they were a sponsor, and I can't recommend it highly enough. Paired is a relationship care app that offers daily questions, games, quizzes, and exercises that are designed to be completed with your partner. The goal is to strengthen your relationship and deepen your connection. You may know that at this time my husband is deployed. He's been gone for a few months and we still have many months to go, but one thing I'm really grateful for is that he has Wi-Fi. I'm so thankful that I still get to talk to him every day. I know that's not the case with all deployments, but we text, we FaceTime, and of course we still continue to use the Paired app. Right now we're working our way through a question pack all about having a long distance relationship. He and I are answering questions like, what's the hardest thing about being apart? What do you look forward to the most about being reunited? And this morning we answered, which way of connecting when you're apart brings you the most joy? And he said that he loves when I send him care packages, and specifically when I send him our toddler's drawings. It's really helpful to know what kinds of things I can do to make him feel loved and supported during this time of separation. And these are topics that I love that we get to talk about through the Paired app. I found this question pack by going to the search bar and searching specifically for activities about long distance relationships, but you can search by almost any topic: communication, conflict, parenting, finances, sex, fun and excitement. And then the Paired app will filter what games or quizzes or questions you can complete with your partner under those topics. It's a fun and easy way to take care of your relationship, and it's such a great tool for us to have as an additional way to stay connected during this deployment. If you'd like to maintain and deepen connection with your partner, you can visit my link in the description box below. This is going to give you a 7-day free trial plus 25% off Paired Premium. Thanks to the Paired app for sponsoring today's video. Now let's take a deep dive into all of this Monat drama. Here is the quickest rundown of what Monat is in case you're not familiar. Monat is an MLM company and they sell beauty and wellness products, primarily hair care like shampoo. When you join Monat, you're given the title of market partner. That's what the reps in the company are called, and we'll be referencing that a lot in this video. And your job is to sell the beauty products, but also to recruit other people to also join the business opportunity to also sell the products. You earn a little bit of money based on sales commissions, but you earn a lot more money based on the recruitment that you do. And this is often referred to as building a team or your downline. This is known as the multi-level marketing business structure, and it is very predatory. People get sucked in under the false idea that they're going to make a ton of money and have all this financial freedom and live the life of their dreams. But the truth is that you don't make good money unless you recruit and build a team below you. And actually, you do lose money if you're the last in line at the bottom of this pyramid. The people at the top only make good money because they have lots and lots of people below them who are not making good money. That's how the scheme works. Monat has been in business for about a decade. They absolutely boomed in 2020 thanks to recruiting a ton of people made very vulnerable by the pandemic and the financial insecurity that comes along with that. And in my opinion, they've officially hit their saturation point. Finding new customers and new recruits is next to impossible these days. People want nothing to do with Monat right now. So everything has kind of been downhill for the past couple of years. Within just the past 2 months, there have been a lot of allegations and scandals going on within the company, and a bunch of top Monat reps have either been terminated or they have resigned. And these people are coming out to talk about their damaging experiences within the company. And Monat is being made to look worse and worse as the days go on. It's like they've got one foot in the grave at this point. That's why I'm titling this video The Death of Monat, because it really does feel imminent. And the last thing I want to say before we get into this timeline of events is usually with my anti-MLM videos, I do keep people anonymous. However, However, I will not be doing that with this video. And the reason is that there are so many people involved in this complicated story. It's almost like a cast of characters that are all intertwined in some way, and trying to refer to them anonymously would get really confusing for the purpose of storytelling. So I will be showing you people's faces and names, but please, I'm begging you, do not contact the people featured in this video. Please don't involve yourself in the situation. This is not your invitation to go and harass anybody. I don't condone that. That's not okay. Their names are only being used for clarity in this video, not as ammunition for hate. Deal? Okay, let's go. Let's start untangling this mess. There are tons of major events that have been happening recently, but first we need to build some context about what's been bubbling under the surface before everything has come to light. There were a couple very concerning things that the market partners were keeping under wraps for about the last year or so. And it wasn't until recently, when Monat terminated a few key players at the top of the pyramid, that these issues are now starting to be shared to the public through social media, because what do they got to lose, right? In other words, things were crumbling internally for a while, but the market partners were playing it cool and acting like nothing was wrong. Uplines were dismissing people's concerns and gaslighting people into thinking that everything was fine, until finally some people with large influence in the company have left and they started spilling what they know, the floodgates have opened, and now a bunch of other market partners are jumping on the Monat is a sketchy company bandwagon, and they're joining in to share their negative experiences too. The first big issue is regarding alleged product formula changes. Speculation started to swirl that Monat silently changed the formulations on their products and didn't inform the market partners. Suddenly, the ingredients listed on the back of your bottle are not matching what's listed on the website. Or the products that you bought a couple years ago have different ingredients on the bottle than the products that you bought this year. The market partners started noticing these discrepancies, and the accusation is that the company just changed the formulations without telling anyone. Here's one market partner named Grace talking about her experience with the different formulations, and I really commend her for speaking out about this. I think what she has to say is very important, and everybody should take note of it.
I went into my shower. I got my bottle of shampoo, and I cross-referenced the ingredient list that is on this bottle of shampoo with what is on the website. Now, people are being told, well, they had to kind of like shift the way the ingredients are listed in a certain way, but it's not really a formula change. It's just like, it was just something to be more compliant. They were trying to make sure they were more compliant. Well, let me share what I found out about this bottle of shampoo compared to the website. So this bottle of shampoo, I'll give you the lot number so we are clear. This bottle of shampoo I received in a grab bag in April of 2023. Lot number 200901022. This is the Volumizing Revive shampoo. There are several ingredients on the current ingredient list that have been added that are not in this bottle of shampoo that I received in 2023. This bottle of shampoo contains an ingredient that was banned in the EU in 2022, and that is no longer on the website. But this bottle of shampoo was sent to me a full year after that ingredient was banned in the EU. This bottle of shampoo was sent to me. This bottle of shampoo does not meet EU standards, and yet it was sent to me by Monat in a grab bag sale that I bought and paid for.
And this is significant because Monat states on their website that, quote, "We formulate our products to comply with the highest standards across the USA, Canada, and Europe. All Monat formulations use ingredients that the FDA, Health Canada, and the more strict European Commission consider safe for their intended cosmetic purpose." This is kind of the backbone of the Monat selling point, that they're the best of the best, they're the safest, most effective, most rigorously tested hair care on the market or whatever. Whether any of that is true is a completely different story, but that's the selling point that the reps push nonetheless. So to learn that the company is selling products a full year after that ingredient is banned in the EU is really problematic. The ingredient she's referencing is butaphenyl methylpropanol, also known as Liliol. It's a synthetic fragrance. It's put in the product to make it smell nice. And it was banned in the EU on March 1st of 2022 because of its potential connection to reproductive and fertility issues. It's not banned in the US, so I guess you can technically still sell it in your US market, but it's certainly deceptive to be telling your market partners that your products meet a certain standard of safety when they don't. And then taking the deception one step further by just making a quick edit on the website to save face without actually taking the dangerous ingredient out of your product.
But I'll read it to you. It is butaphenyl methylpropanol. And again, I don't know the extent to how much is in it. I don't know. But at the end of the day, that ingredient, it's also called lilial, is another word for it. That other word for it is not on the new ingredient list, just so we're clear. That ingredient has been banned in the EU. One of the reasons that I felt comfortable selling Monat products and using them on myself as somebody with hormone issues, as somebody with chronic illness, and sharing that with my community of people who also, many of whom are ingredient conscious, the reason that I was willing to put my name with a company that did that is because I was told that they met EU standards. And I was sent something that would not meet EU standards a full year after it was banned in the EU. And again, don't treat this as fact, treat this as personal opinion, personal whatever. Nothing is to be taken as fact. Use your own discernment, but ask yourself, if enough things start not adding up for you, how long are you going to play along?
Yeah, how many times does the company have to deceive their market partners before people start to bail? I think that's exactly what we're seeing in recent months. People are waking up, they're learning new information, they're seeing things in a new way that they haven't thought about them before, and that is shaping their path forward. As she said, she trusted that the company was being honest about their formulation so that she could feel good about using them and recommending them to others. But if that's not the case, then the trust is gone. How do you move forward after something like that? I feel like you would have to break up with the company if you learn that they've been lying to you all this time, allegedly, of course.
I just checked another one of my products. This was not one from the grab bag sale. This is the Restore Leave-In Conditioner. Same thing, butaphenyl methylpropionyl. I got this in early 2023, like February or March of 2023. Why were they sending us products with an ingredient banned in the EU while all of us staked our reputations and our names on a brand that claimed to meet EU standards? Like, were they just, like, honestly, I have to wonder, like, what is going on? You know what I mean? Like, again, this is all alleged. This is personal opinion, personal speculation. Like, were we, all of us in the United States, where this ingredient's not banned in the United States. It's banned overseas because that's the whole thing, is that it's banned in other countries. So were they just sending us the crap that they need to offload? Like, what was going on?
Ding, ding, ding. I think you've got it. I think you're right on the money with that. The company's name is Monat Global. They are sold in many other countries other than the United States. So what she's kind of getting at here that I completely agree with is that this ingredient got banned in the EU. Now the company has a crap ton of inventory with said banned ingredient. It would be a huge loss for them financially to just throw it out. So instead, they're selling it to the US-based market partners through things like grab bag sales to offload their undesirable inventory, allegedly, in my opinion. That's always been my opinion of grab bag sales, actually. You can go back to old videos from years ago where I say the exact same thing. These types of grab bag sales or flash sales are just the company's way of getting rid of their crap to their own market partners. Grab bag sales specifically are promotions that the company will run periodically where it's like, if you spend $80, then you can add on a mystery bag of products for $20 or something like that. You're not getting these products for free, but you're adding them onto your order for a super discounted price and you don't know what you're gonna get. And I've always said it's the company's last-ditch effort to get rid of stuff that they can't sell otherwise because people like you and me aren't buying this crap. So the sales are a way to keep their own market partners purchasing because after all, the market partners themselves are Monat's primary customer base. So it makes logical sense to me that if you got all of this stock that's not compliant with EU standards anymore and you can't sell it overseas, let's just sneak it into some grab bags for the next year and hope that nobody looks closely at the ingredient labels. Grace also goes on to show a screenshot comparison of the ingredient list discrepancy, which I'll put here if you want to take a closer look at that. The physical bottle that she has in her possession that she received in April of 2023 does have butaphenyl methylpropionyl in it. However, if you look at the ingredient list on the website for supposedly the same exact product, that ingredient is missing and there's 4 new ones in its place that aren't on the old bottle. Very, very strange, definitely worth raising an eyebrow at least. Another person who was very vocal about the formula changes was Angela Sumner. If you're big into following the Monat drama on your own, you likely already know who this is. There's a couple deep dive videos about Angela on YouTube from Cece Suarez and Savannah Marie. She's a very interesting character that you might want to take a deep dive into on your own. But as it relates to the Monat drama, Angela was terminated from the company in April of this year. Here's what she has to say about her termination in a series of Instagram story posts. This morning, God told me to draft a goodbye email to the company I spent the last 2 years of my life making hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of dollars for, likely well over $1 million. but I haven't checked to be certain. I felt in my body that the company had lost sight of God and all integrity. I heard firsthand accounts of what my friends had seen and experienced. Quote, demonic, several women told me separately. I told my team I was leaving. I put off sending the email, but then we had a play date with a friend and her daughter. When my friend and her daughter left, I checked my email and I had been terminated. I immediately started bawling, not because I was surprised, not at all, but because I'm a single mother and it's terrifying to think that my pay is gone just like that. No conversation, no thank you, no acknowledgement, just termination. I had a lot of questions about the ingredients, new allergic reactions being reported, synthetic fragrances, when we had been told that they were all plant-based, and I was hushed in the leaders chat. One multi-million earner and leader said blah blah blah, who cares? To which I replied, and this is a screenshot of the leaders chat, most of my audience and market partners are super low tox. I've built my brand for over a decade on no toxic chemicals, so synthetic fragrances are a huge deal to me. I would not put that on my body or promote it because they're hormone disruptors and carcinogens, so it's a genuine concern. I'm not going to poo-poo someone's concern that's valid just because I don't like how someone is sharing their concern. Leaders don't silence other leaders, and all of my girls are leaders. Angela says she then deleted her comments. I left the chat. I knew I was done. Y'all have a lot of questions, and so do I. There's been no transparency about the changes. It all started for me when one of my besties told me that her hair started falling out about a month ago. Since then, I've asked questions and they're all vaguely answered or silenced. I will give you every single detail I know. I've gotten probably 20 to 30 messages from customers who had adverse reactions. And then things went down in chats, and that's when I knew I was done. Unclear ingredient changes, 0% commission on sales, and inside details from trusted Christian friends who left also. Any adverse reactions you have, report them. I can't do anything. She didn't outright say anywhere that she was terminated because she was asking too many questions about formula changes and stuff, but that is what is implied. She asked questions to top leaders in very important chats. They shut her down. She decided to quit, but then she was terminated before she had the chance to quit. However, the story doesn't quite end there because then Angela posts this.
I have so many messages in my inbox. I have so many questions. I'm feeling so many things. I laid in bed with my daughter as she was napping and I just bawled my eyes out because I'm a single mom, and to have worked for a company and like poured my heart and soul into that company and to be completely thrown out like trash, it just proves what I already knew was true about it, period. I feel relief. I think overall, like the feeling that I feel is gratitude and relief to have already known about all of this. I already knew all of this was going to happen. I was prepared, and we're going to go outside and play, but I am going to post my quiz. If you guys want to look at this skincare, if you want to look at completely non-toxic, all organic, all non-GMO, all olive leaf extract, okay, complete bioactive anti-aging skincare, 40 years old. I'll post my quiz, and when you order 2 products, you get a full-size product for free, and I'm happy to do recommendations, but right now I'm gonna go outside.
So wait a minute, you were just terminated from Monat, but now you're pushing people to fill out your quiz so that you can sell them skincare? Like, what is this new product that you're talking about? The skincare she's now peddling is from Olive Tree People. This is a new, different MLM, also known as Oliveda, that she was promoting during the tail end of her time with Monat. So what I'm getting at is that she was posting on her Instagram stories, kind of implying that she was terminated for asking too many questions and for bringing up the formulation changes, and they didn't like that. But I'm kind of wondering if she was actually terminated because she was affiliated with a different MLM company during her time in Monat. The Monat policy states that Monat market partners below the rank of market mentor are free to participate as affiliates or distributors in other direct selling ventures or marketing opportunities, as long as they keep their organizations and downlines separate. So basically, if you're at the bottom of the pyramid and you're not one of our top earners, then you're not that important to us, and it's okay if you join another MLM too, but if you're above a certain rank, you have to stick with us and us only. It also says that if you do join another MLM, MLM while you're in Monat, you're not allowed to take any of your Monat downline members or customers with you. So my assumption is that Angela was terminated from Monat because she joined Olive Tree People and she violated a policy. Angela had over 1,500 Monat customers and 300 people in her downline. My money is on the fact that she was up way too high in the pyramid, that Monat policy would not allow her to join Olive Tree People, but she did it anyway, and then she got terminated. And this assumption is corroborated somewhat because Angela is not the only person to be terminated for joining Olive Tree People recently. It happened to another top Monat rep, Haley Stell, too. Haley made an Instagram post on March 27th announcing that she was terminated, citing that it was because of her involvement with Olive Tree People that she violated one of Monat's policies. Haley also went on her Instagram story to talk more about her termination.
So I explained this all in my post on my feed about my termination. So I go into detail there. Essentially, I got terminated for sharing about Olive Tree People because I wanted to make up for my paycheck that was slowly diminishing, and outside of the fact that I didn't align with some of the changes that have been made, I felt a heavy uneasiness, ingredient issues, compensation issues, whatever, all of that stuff. I was introduced to Olive Tree People, and I started sharing about the products, and they terminated me. So thank goodness for that, though. Actually, not thank goodness, thank God. Thank God I was terminated. I'm so thankful. Absolutely, it has been a relief. A weight that has been holding me down is now gone, and it is just such a good feeling. I had a feeling that it might be coming, but I didn't feel that it would happen as quickly as it did, but I was absolutely kind of targeted, if you want to say so, and turned in or whatever. This is after I talked to my upline, and she said she was a safe space. And I told her exactly how I was feeling about stuff. And then I talked to the CEO after I told her I didn't want to talk to the CEO. And then she ratted me out to the CEO. And then I told him how I felt about everything. And then I got my termination letter 3 days later.
I do think it's funny that she says she was targeted and that she was ratted out to the CEO, that she joined Olive Tree People. When she was the number 30 income earner in the whole company, she was at the top of the pyramid. She's not allowed to join a different MLM per the Monat policy. I do believe that Haley and Angela were on the same team in Monat, and they both joined Olive Tree People around the same time. I'm not sure who joined first or which one of them recruited the other, but point being, they both violated the Monat policy and they both got terminated. Surprise, surprise, the consequences of your own actions. And as a result of being terminated, Angela and Haley are now two of the biggest voices to expose what's going on within the company because they don't owe Monat anything anymore. Haley mentions the formulation changes in her Instagram post, and she said that she noticed things were changing, and she asked herself, quote, why do the US formulas contain ingredients banned in the EU? Why is there caramel coloring in the wellness products? Why do the products use red 40 dye? Angela started sharing accusations about the products too after she was terminated, but her accusations were way more damning. Angela is not just accusing the company of formulation changes. She's sharing personal testimonies from people who have sent her messages in her Instagram DMs who are claiming that Monat products, presumably the ones with that banned ingredient liliol, are causing major reproductive health issues for them. For legal purposes, what I'm about to show you is completely alleged. None of this is proven as fact, but this is what Angela has been posting and exposing. I'll also say what I'm about to show you and what I'm about to read is extremely disturbing and trigger warning for things like infertility and pregnancy loss. First, she says this: I know women are having hormonal/fertility/autoimmune issues, and leaders are telling them to continue using Monat, knowing the ingredients are not non-toxic. I had a leader in my inbox threatening me to leave her girls alone because I told a woman having fertility issues that I would not use Monat if I were her. The lack of integrity is beyond. Then she shared a ton of screenshots of different messages that she has received from people who are using Monat. Again, completely alleged, unproven. This person said, fertility issues. After 3 babies, all of a sudden, I have unexplained infertility as diagnosed by a doctor. The only thing I changed is the exclusive use of Monat. This person says, me too. I started using Monat and I lost our daughter at 19 weeks pregnant due to severe birth defects. I stopped using the products, restarted the products, and suddenly I'm diagnosed with PCOS and I can't ovulate. I've only had 1 natural period in the 2 years that I've used Monat. Well, this would be interesting to think that maybe maybe this is why I also had a miscarriage in June, the fertility issues that women are sharing about make me wonder if the use of Monat contributed to me developing severe preeclampsia and having to have a C-section. My baby and I were hospitalized for over a month combined. Wow, makes me wonder. I have 4 beautiful children, never had any issues, and then I got pregnant with baby number 5, and I used Monat only for about a year and a half and just recently stopped because I noticed a difference in my hair being brittle and breaking on the ends. I decided to leave the company for many reasons, but wow, all the women experiencing this makes me wonder. I miscarried my baby on Mother's Day this year. This person says, I never even correlated this until now, but my first 2 pregnancies were a breeze. Never anything off, but this last pregnancy, so many weird things happened. Even after she was born, the doctor looked at my placenta and said, you're so lucky your water didn't break over the cord because she would have been stillborn. I started using Monat right after my second son was born. Could be a coincidence, but I don't know. This person is citing head scabs and skin peeling inside their ears and rashes around their hairline. This person says that her scalp had been flaring up and her periods were acting strange and that she's starting to go through early menopause. This woman says that she's been trying to get pregnant since last fall and right now she has all these scabs on her forehead. And Angela says, throw your bottles in the trash. And finally, Angela says, it's sickening. I'm so sick, y'all. The directors out there know this is happening to women, but they're telling their teams to put their blinders on and get to work, that the products are all natural and safe, and they know that it's not true. They all know because I was in leaders chats, and as soon as I asked about ingredients, I was mocked and silenced. That's when I started speaking out. I didn't know, otherwise there is no way I would have used that while breastfeeding my baby. I never used the products on her, thank God. The formulations changed sometime in the last year. We don't know because there was never an announcement. The bottles just quietly changed. I'm getting dozens of messages and they're not a coincidence, not at all. You can take action by calling and canceling your account, telling them why, and contacting the FTC and tell them your experience, and post reviews. Women don't know until we know. I'm so sorry for all of us that I didn't know sooner. I told you all as soon as I realized. I mean, these are some incredibly serious allegations, and again, none of this has been proven as fact, but I'm showing it to you here to demonstrate how Angela is not holding back when it comes to trying to expose Monat's ingredients. All of this stuff coming out about product formulations is only one piece of what has been exposed about Monat recently. The other piece is regarding allegations about commissions checks not being paid out correctly, as well as that the overall earning potential of the Monat business opportunity is severely declining. People are not making as much money right now as they once did. And Angela comes back into the picture again here to discuss the commissions issues in a live stream.
We used to say we pay out 50 cents on every dollar. Like, the company used to pay us so much money, and the company just cared so much about us when I first started. I just genuinely felt like they cared about their people, and all these things changed. We got our commissions cut. None of us were making any money. None of my girls were making any money. No one on my team ranked for an entire year. No one on my team earned their car. No one on my team earned trips. It was no one could get ahead. The company kept saying, we're growing by leaps and bounds. We're doing so great. Sales are up, enrollments are up, but no one that I talked to was having that experience. No one that I talked to was ranking. No one that I talked to was earning money. No one that I talked to was actually experiencing this exponential growth, except for 2 people who have waist length, incredible hair, who literally were just selling the products because they went viral. Nobody I actually know and have spoken to was having any of this growth, any of this we're up 100%. We're no one was having that. And I thought something was wrong with me. I was something's wrong with me. I can't get ahead. I am not doing this right. I want to tell you that when someone at the top tells you to put your blinders on and keep working and keep enrolling and keep going live and keep going, they're doing that to protect their own income. They're doing that to protect their own $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a month. Meanwhile, you're over here making what, $500 a month? What are you making? They have thousands of people under them who are making $200, $300, $500 a month. And here they are raking in these $10, $20, $30, $50,000 a month checks. And of course they want to tell you to put your head down, put your blinders on. You guys, get real with yourself. Y'all, I had thousands of people underneath me. And my checks have dwindled. Y'all, my check yesterday on Friday was $100. And I have 1,500 VIPs. I have 1,500 VIPs. Like, I just need you to understand this. I have 1,500 customers beneath me. And I made $100 yesterday. When these people at the top of the company are telling you to put your blinders on and get to work and go live and enroll more people and you can do it, you're not working hard enough. I'm here to tell you that no one worked harder than me. And I made $100 yesterday.
Dang. I mean, that really does speak for itself. She's coming to so many important realizations here about the information control tactics used in MLMs. Pretend that everything is fine to the public, even though we're crumbling internally, and declining paychecks are all your own fault. If somebody with 1,500 customers is only making $100 paychecks, we've got a problem with the commission structure for sure. This is not an issue of not working hard enough. This goes deeper into things that are not within the market partner's control. We also kind of heard Haley mention that there were commissions issues in her video too, where she said that she joined Olive Tree people to make up for her lost income with Monat. Monat is a sinking ship, and even top earners in the company are making less and less money as the years go on. So they've got to go in search of other opportunities. I think the fact that people are leaving Monat to join other MLMs is extremely telling. You would never give up the Monat opportunity if the money was super great, you know? Haley also posted an Instagram story where she said that from November of 2021 until March of 2024, when she was terminated, her paychecks were decreasing monthly. And again, this is her explanation as to why she felt pushed to seek out other opportunities, because her income was declining no matter how hard she was working. And I 100% believe that. There is a saturation point with MLMs. At some point, you've recruited all the people you can recruit, you've sold to all the customers you can sell to, and things are all downhill from there. We cannot populate the earth fast enough for MLM girlies to maintain their same level of earning year after year. So their paychecks are going to inevitably decline even if they're still working as hard as they once were. But on top of that, now there's also allegations that the company has changed the compensation plan without telling the reps, and suddenly everyone's paychecks are dropping without explanation. We'll revisit this later in the video with more juicy details regarding the commission structure, but Haley goes on to say in this same Instagram story that it was Sarah who ratted her out to the CEO. Sarah as in Sarah Hill, who is above Haley in the pyramid. And things start to get a little feisty because Sarah claps back at Haley. Haley has this attitude that she was victimized and targeted by Monat, and she had no other choice but to join another MLM, and this is what Sarah has to say about that.
Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. You breach your contract, you don't hold up your end of the bargain, they're going to take your car, they're going to take your house, they're going to terminate you and your business. You don't work there anymore. You're not a victim. You made your own bed. Back when I was working as a nurse, if I just stopped showing up to the hospital on the days I was scheduled to work, I'm not going to get paid for that shift. And I'll probably lose my job if I just don't go. And that doesn't make me a victim. That means I made a conscious decision to stop showing up. And now I have to deal with the consequences of that choice. And that's it. That's very black and white. I usually see the world in gray. But when you stop doing a job, you're not entitled to income, and you're not entitled to keep that job. And you're not a victim if they decide to terminate you for breach of contract. That's what they should do.
I hate to say that I agree with Sarah on this point, but I do. If you break a contract, don't be surprised when there's consequences. I don't know why Haley is acting surprised that Monat cut her off. It's a policy that she literally signed off on when she joined. She should be held to it. However, I do not blame Haley for feeling like she needs to seek other income opportunities. And I think it's a weak argument for Sarah to say, well, you just stopped working and that's why your income dropped. We know that that's not true in MLMs. You can work your butt off and still not not be successful in an MLM, and that's a flaw of the compensation plan. You only make money when you sell or recruit, and you can try to do those things for days, weeks, months, years on end, and all of those potential recruits and customers could still tell you no, and you could still make no money. This is a very victim blaming type statement for Sarah to make, and it's like MLM Boss Babe 101. Always blame the individual for their inability to make money in an MLM. It's all your fault, the company's perfect, the comp plan is perfect, and if you're not making money, that's because you're a failure, and you have only yourself to blame. I'm not surprised in the least that Sarah is responding this way. This is a form of information control. She's got a former high-ranking teammate coming out and saying the Monat opportunity is only getting worse. My paychecks were decreasing for years. That's why I jumped ship. And so what is Sarah supposed to do with that? This video, this response is damage control to try and convince the remaining team members that Haley was just a failure and you shouldn't listen to her, and that if you work hard, you will be rewarded. Classic MLM Hun behavior. And she doubles down on this for the rest of the video.
Be very careful who you surround yourself with in business. If you want to do better, surround yourself with people who are doing better than you. There are so many people doing better than me. I couldn't even count on both hands. That's who I want to surround myself with when it comes to work. So if you are self-employed, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're working alone or with a team, be very careful who you allow in your ear. Consider the source, consider the motive, and just really edit that circle of people, because it will make or break you in business.
I'm sorry, I've just got to pause. She just said, consider the source, consider the motive, which has got to be the most ironic thing I have ever heard, because that is literally a tagline I use in my videos to emphasize why people in MLMs should not be trusted. I have literally had this tagline on my merch for the past 2 years, you guys. The irony is not lost on me that she's saying to consider the source, but yet the same thing could be said about her. Consider that she is still a top rep in a failing multi-level marketing company, grasping at straws and trying to convince people not to quit her team by making her former teammate look like the bad guy. Consider the source, remember the motive, absolutely.
And people who are struggling aren't looking to people who are succeeding as inspiration. They're looking for other people that are struggling so that we can talk about how we're all victims together. And it's just never going to benefit. If you feel like you're drowning, you're not going to look over the guy who's drowning next to you and be like, cool, let's drown together. That just doesn't make sense. So edit your circle. Who are you letting in your ear? Is it a group of people who are just, all they want to do is cause chaos and division and drama and talk badly about other people? Or are they talking about business and life and impact and passion and service of others? Who are you letting in? What are you listening to? Who are the people you surround yourself with? Edit your circle. It'll be painful, but it'll also bring a lot of clarity. So, that's it. That's all I got.
All right, so clearly there's animosity and fighting between the people who have left Monat versus the people who are still trying to make it work in Monat. And at this point, I worry that it's just a losing battle for Monat market partners because the accusations just keep coming. Here's an Instagram reel from a different former Monat rep, also named Haley, who has also joined Olive Tree People, who is showing us why she suspects that the Monat reps are not being paid the correct commissions.
I've been asked by a million people, how do you know commissions are actually wrong? For me, it's simple math because you can see that this is the definition. We are paid 15% of VIPs off of our CV, which is stated here. You can see the definition there. Then you can see all of my order totals for the one pay period week. You can see the CV. If you add it up, it equals 419 CV. You can see down here what I was paid on May 17th, which was the week prior or after all of these sales were made, which is when we were paid out. That is 11.8% of 419 CV. 15% would have been $62.85. I don't care about $12. I don't. I care about the transparency. And if you say that you're going to be paying 15%, the math should add up.
If you're not super familiar with the Monat compensation plan, some of these terms might be confusing to you, but I double checked her math and I double checked the comp plan, and I can say that she is right. Based on these numbers and the screenshots that she's showing us, she should have gotten paid $62.85 on this paycheck, but she only got $49.85. So you do have to wonder why. Where did that $12 go? Is this happening to anybody else? And at this point, we don't have answers to those questions, but I felt like this was worth throwing into the mix, that there is perhaps some more evidence of some shady stuff going on with commissions. I do appreciate that she took screenshots and she's explaining, like, here's these numbers, here's how I got there, this is what I should have gotten paid, but it wasn't that much. It's one thing to say commissions are off, I'm not making as much as I used to, but it's another thing to show us proof of that. In general, Monat market partners who are leaving are finally acknowledging that the company is not doing as well as they're leading on. The numbers are not adding up. Here's a clip from a different live stream that Haley did.
I see a lot of things about how Monat is in momentum and is having like one of the biggest quarters they ever have. I think I've even seen statements of directors saying it's the biggest quarter they've ever had. So I actually did some math because people were putting out basically the screenshot that the company's paid out $40 million. So that's actually not the best time, like the best number to put out. And I don't really know why it's even being put out, because anyone who can do math can easily figure out that 40 million times 2, if they're paying out 50 cents to the dollar, means that they've paid out 40 million, they've made 80 million. In the past month, 5 months divided by 5 is $16 million a month is what the company on average is revenuing. So the issue for me with that is the transparency. Because the company, with that prediction, if they're making 16 mil a month, again, companies usually do better towards the end of the year, the end of the quarter, things like that. The issue with that for me is that if you multiply 16 by 12, that is $192 million. Say they do really good though, like in quarter 4, which most companies do, that is still almost $100 million less than they made last year. Last year, the company, I'm pretty sure they generated over $330 million in revenue, which means this is, from what I looked at, this is the worst year the company has had since 2017, is from what if the numbers were accurate from what I was looking at. So the company's not in momentum. It's very much so being told that way because that's what needs to be perceived to keep everyone running. So like for me personally, I feel like people should just be honest at the end of the day. Like honesty will go the farthest way. And I probably wouldn't have left the company. I actually know I wouldn't have left the company if I would have been met with honesty. Like I love the products. I love Monat. But there were just legitimate reasons and legitimate facts that I just could not ignore. And with integrity, I would never be the leader that would tell my team to put their head down and just keep working whenever I knew I saw legitimate things going on. So that's why I stepped away.
The revenue figure from 2023 that a lot of people are referencing is coming from an article that was published about the 2023 top 100 beauty companies, where Monat is listed under their parent company Alcora at number 84 with an estimated $350 million in sales in 2023. And now, based on this math from this Monat rep, where the company is claiming to already have made $80 million this year, that means they're on track for like 200 million, maybe a little bit more in 2024, which is obviously significantly less than the 350 million they made last year. So how can the company be in momentum, and how can the reps be having their best quarter ever if these are the worst revenue numbers the company has seen in years? This feeds into what we know to be true, that people in MLMs will overinflate their success and pretend everything is fine to preserve the teams they've got and to hopefully sucker in other people under the false pretenses that the company is booming. The difference about the moment we're living in right now, something that we haven't seen before, is that people in the company are finally waking up, they're leaving, and they're speaking out on a mass scale. So all of this formulation change and commissions issues and top reps being terminated for moving to different MLMs drama has been playing out in March and April of this year. And then the lawsuit bomb is dropped. On April 24th of 2024, Stuart MacMillan, the former president of Monat from 2014 to 2023, filed a lawsuit against Monat and specifically against the two co-founders, Luis and and Ray Urdaneta. They're a father and son duo. Luis is the chairman and Ray is the CEO, and they founded Monat together. And Stuart was their right-hand man, acting as the president of the company for the first 9 years they were in business. That is until July of 2023, when Stuart was no longer with Monat. If you ask the Urdanetas, Stuart was terminated. If you ask Stuart, he says he resigned. Either way, market partners got this weird email just saying Stuart is no longer with us without really giving any details about why he wasn't there anymore. And needless to say, everyone was really confused and they suspected that the split was not amicable. And it took many months through this lawsuit for it to come to light, but they were right. It was not a happy ending. Stuart's lawsuit is 50 pages in total. I'll link it below, and I'm just going to summarize the main points. The Urdanetas got Stuart to become their president by sweetening the deal. They're going to give him a base salary, a signing bonus, benefits, an annual bonus, plus 3% profit sharing during his time as president. And once he left the company, they agreed to continue to give him 3% profit sharing for the same number of years that he was with Monat minus 1. So in his case, he was with the company for 9 years. He should still be getting 3% profit sharing for the next 8 years. The profit sharing agreement also states that if Monat is not profitable within any calendar year, they're still going to pay Stuart $1 million per year. That's a really sweet deal if you ask me. Well, Stuart started seeing things within the company that he didn't like. His resignation letter says that he's resigning because he doesn't agree with how Monat is being run. He doesn't agree with how the company is claiming that they're on track to be $1 billion company and how 2024 is going to be their best year yet, even though their customer and market partner enrollment is dwindling. And it also says that he doesn't agree with the things that Monat has done to get them investigated by the Florida Attorney General, the FTC, the FDA, and USCIS, and that he essentially doesn't like how they're running the company, but he's on a 2-on-1 situation with Ray and Luis, and he has no power to change anything. Stuart resigns, and he's alleging that Monat is not paying him the amount they agreed upon in the profit sharing agreement, so Stuart is suing them. Like I said, I'll link the lawsuit below if you want to read it. It's a real nail biter. I enjoyed it a lot. I feel like that's pretty atypical to say about a lawsuit, but I really was on the edge of my seat. It was really, really entertaining. But one of my favorite lines from the lawsuit says that Stuart accepted the offer to become the president of Monat because he, quote, expected Monat to operate like an honest and legitimate domestic business, not like a mafia family and unprincipled syndicate. Stuart also makes several allegations about how Ray and Luis never intended to pay him what he was owed, that they intentionally drained Monat's bank account of all of its profits by spending it on their own personal expenses so that they wouldn't have to pay him. He's essentially alleging that they used his expertise to build the company up without any intention of actually compensating him what they agreed on. In the end, Stuart is saying that they're running this company like a mafia family and that he was swindled. About a month later, on May 23rd, Ray and Luis respond with their 65-page counterclaim. Again, I'll link it below, but the main points are that they deny pretty much all of the allegations, right? Obviously. One thing they do admit to is that in 2020, revenues exceeded $800 million, which is staggering because we know in 2023, Monat had an estimated revenue of $350 million. So in just a few years, their revenue is cut in half. The section of this lawsuit where that's confirmed is appropriately titled The Pandemic Boom and Bust. I've been saying it for years, MLMs thrived in 2020 because they exploited the crap out of people whose jobs were made vulnerable by the pandemic. The counterclaim also states that Stuart was terminated and they deny that he resigned on his own. It then goes on to allege that Stuart mismanaged the company, that he was responsible for millions of dollars in business losses, and that he even got drunk at Monat work events and spilled the beans about confidential Monat information while inebriated. And the choice to terminate him was so that he didn't negatively impact the company any longer. Ray and Luis are also alleging that Stuart has been, quote, sowing seeds of discontent among Monat market partners, customers, and employees behind the Urdanetas' backs for many years, and that he essentially was trying to turn the market partners against the company by telling them confidential information about the company to make them look bad, saying that the company is going under and that they should look for another stream of income. You guys, listen to this. Quote, MacMillan was mesmerized by the allure of the limelight, celebrity status, recognition, and attention given to him by the thousands of beautiful women throughout the world, directly flowing from MacMillan's access to Monat's worldwide stage. I'm sorry, what? Where did that come from? Now they're just doing like character assassination, basically. And later they admit that the company has suffered 3 years of plummeting losses and sales declines, as well as inventory problems and a botched rollout of Monat's EU market, blaming everything on Stuart, of course. This kind of thing goes on and on for over 60 pages, and it's beautiful to read, truly. But what I love the most about it all is that Monat is directly admitting that they're tanking. The company is in trouble, they're acknowledging that sales are declining, and morale is at an all-time low. And what I want to emphasize is that they're admitting these things in a lawsuit, but the narrative they're portraying to their own market partners is completely different. Everything everything's fine, nothing to see here, we're experiencing extreme growth, we're on track to be $1 billion company. You guys, they're lying to their own reps, and the top reps are lying to the bottom reps. Everyone knows they're in trouble, but they're trying to act like everything is fine in order to salvage what little they have left. That is the moral of the story here. That's what I want you to take away from this section about the lawsuit. Stuart and the Urdanettas are throwing all kinds of damning accusations at each other about each other's characters, but they can both agree on one thing, that Monat is a sinking ship. Continuing on with the timeline, just a few weeks after Stuart's lawsuit is filed, news breaks that Monat has terminated their very first market partner ever, Toni Van Schoik, and her husband who was in business with her, Jay. Toni was literally the very first person to join Monat. She was the tippy top person in the pyramid, and I believe that she's made over $15 million in her time in Monat. I know that she made the $10 million club in 2021, so it wouldn't surprise me if they've surpassed $15 million at this point, and now she's terminated. What is going on? Here's some snippets from an Instagram live stream that Toni did on May 11th explaining what happened.
So let me give you a little bit of a timeline. So what had happened is that back at the end of 2022, I was asking some tough questions. We had our leaders coming to us, trying to get answers on certain things, and we just never did. So, I still pursued it because we weren't getting the answers that we needed. So what had happened during this time is that I decided to, ask harder questions. And that was resulting in what has happened over the last 6 months of, for lack of a better word, they started building back in February a compliance file against us. And they were citing all of these things, but they weren't sending any examples. So I just kept my head down. I hired a litigator 6 weeks ago because it had gotten to the point where it escalated, and Jay and I felt that we had no choice but to hire legal counsel. And again, you guys, these were false accusations. I asked them to provide me proof, and after the 8th email, they sent me some Instagram lives that I had done, reels that they wanted me to take down, and I said why. They couldn't give me a reason. So what I did is I got our attorney involved, and we wrote a formal letter, and he wrote it on my behalf because I'm not a lawyer. Wrote it on my behalf, and I sent it to Ray asking for my legal counsel to be present with their compliance team so we could figure this out, and we were denied.
She's being very vague, but it's sounding like Toni started to ask tough questions, and rather than answering the tough questions, Monat started penalizing her and giving her compliance violations without really telling her what for, and also refusing to speak to her about it. In this live stream, she goes on for the next 10-ish minutes reading a statement written by her lawyer, and it basically just says that she's greatly concerned about the direction of the company. She feels that the company is making efforts to cover up shady behavior, and that she will be filing her own lawsuit soon, but still continuing to be really vague about all the details. But then Jay, her husband, did his own Instagram live stream a few weeks later on May 24th that gives us a lot more clarity and context behind their termination. So here's a piece of that. This is so good, it makes the company look terrible.
The commission timeline goes back to 2022. And we all know that through the summer of 2022, a lot of people were reporting to their uplines the problems that they were having with their commissions. People weren't able to figure out how they were getting paid anymore. After Monations in 2022, after the St. Louis Monations, we were inundated by calls and texts from other directors asking us what was going on, asking us what the problem was, because their market partners were reporting back to them that their commissions were so low, and for the level of effort that they usually put in, they weren't getting out of it what they usually got. What's going on? So we started bringing this to the company. And it wasn't just us. There was a lot of other people that were bringing it to the company too. And everybody had the same exact questions. What's going on? What's going on? Why are commissions so messed up? So we had a meeting with Ray and Stuart in February of 2023 about raising prices. What would be the best way to raise prices and keep the message consistent? So we were in that meeting. And then March, we had another meeting with Ray and Stuart, and we talked about the commission stuff. And that was the meeting that Ray said, we could change the commission plan and you'd never know it. Now, there were a lot of other directors on that call, and there were a lot of other MDCers and a lot of other people that were on that call that know exactly what was said. And that conversation freaked a lot of people out. through the fall, we were labeled troublemakers. We were labeled as being negative. We were labeled as not being team players. Just because we were questioning how everyone was being paid. Just because we were questioning the math and the lack of, and these other formulas that they put in, the PSV and things, that just felt like they were working against the field. We've always felt that we were the voice of all the market partners. The people that didn't have a voice always had us. And once Stuart left, everybody got on Team Ray, and they didn't want us talking about it. On a side note, if you want to know what all the questions are about network marketing, I would suggest that you follow the anti-mlm group on Reddit. They ask a lot of amazing questions. And one of the things that everybody on there has always asked is, how do you not know what you're getting paid? And embarrassingly enough, Toni and I never knew what we were making. We wanted some sort of commission breakdown ever since we started 10 years ago, and the company always refused, or they said that eventually they would do it. But there isn't one single person in the company right now that can look at their paycheck and know exactly what the breakdown was. There's not one single person that knows exactly what the compensation plan is. We got labeled the troublemakers. We got labeled as being not the team players. Well, I don't remember when in a company you're not being a team player if you're questioning things, if you're asking questions. Since when is that a bad thing? Since when is a question a negative? A question is only a negative if you can't answer it. And that's what it felt like for a long time, that there just weren't any answers to the questions.
And mic drop. He's exactly right. You question things, the company sees that as the threat, and then they get rid of you. Sounds like a cult to me, my friends. So now we're coming to understand that Toni and Jay were noticing the discrepancies with the pay structure and with the commissions payouts. And once they brought it up to the company, they feel as if they were pushed out because of it. We'll see more details about the commission structure issue come up later when we go over Toni's lawsuit. But before that lawsuit is filed, Toni and Jay announce on June 1st that they have decided to join a different MLM called Amari.
So anyways, we wanted to share a little bit about what we're doing moving forward, and we're super excited. We did partner with a mental health and wellness company, really focusing on gut, brain, and heart health, the three brains that you need. You guys know that this is right up our alley because we've been green and clean for a long time. So anyways, we wanted to share with you, we started this 3 days ago, sharing with people just to learn more information, but we have been duck diving into looking at new opportunities for the last 7 months. So I joined up as a distributor to 4 companies that I was really interested in. And the reason why we chose this one is because it has a very squeaky clean product. 2 is that their compensation plan, their pay plan is just absolutely, I've never seen anything like it. And you guys have been in this industry for over 2 decades. So I know what I'm talking about, right? When I talk about comp plans, I mean, that's really where I dive into. The other thing we had to take into consideration is the company in good legal standing. That got a thumbs up. The products, where are they sourced from? What do they do? What kind of testing do they do? So the great thing about it is that all of those boxes were checked for us.
Amari is also known as the mental wellness company, and I have several videos on my channel talking about how sketchy they are, and I can link those below. We're talking like the reps claim that the supplements can cure ADHD and crazy things like that. And it's pretty interesting that she just admitted to joining as a distributor to 4 different MLMs 7 months ago because she was seeking new opportunities, but you were just terminated from Monat like 3 weeks ago. So now I'm wondering, did they terminate Toni because she violated the policy saying that you can't join other MLMs, just like they terminated Angela and Haley? I feel like there's a lot of details that we're not being made aware of in this situation, but one thing I do feel pretty confident saying is that Toni and Jay have poached a bunch of people from Monat because they're achieving very rapid success in Amari. Toni posted to her Instagram story saying, "We had over 100 beautiful people join our fam. Building dream teams. Join us at 7 p.m. Eastern tonight to hear more." And then she said 8 rank advancements for our team after under 3 days. This is exactly what our industry needs. This is wild. Getting 100 people on your team and ranking up 8 times in 3 days, that's not normal. You don't achieve those results unless you've cross-recruited from a different MLM. We're gonna come back to Toni in a little bit regarding her lawsuit, but first, Monat comes out with this big announcement. As if we needed one more piece of drama in the mix, this is a huge one. The company is eating itself alive from the inside out, and they need a Hail Mary, and they need it now. They are desperate to throw something massive out there to distract from the lawsuits, the terminations, the allegations, and to give their remaining market partners something to stay for, something to cling on to for a sign of hope, because right now the opportunity is looking pretty bleak. They teased for a couple weeks that they'd be making this huge life-changing announcement that would mark the beginning of Monat 2.0, and that announcement came on Monday, June 3rd, where they said that they would be announcing what they're calling the Visionary Founders Pool. Not to be confused with the Legacy Founders Pool that the company had when they first launched, or the Emerging Founders Pool that they had later in 2019. Both of these Founders Pools were only open for a limited time, and now we have the Visionary Founders Pool, also open for a limited time. The Urdaneta family, the ones who founded the company, posted a 30-minute video on the Monat official Instagram account, and I'm obviously not going to show you the whole thing, but here's how they describe the Visionary Founders Pool. He does have a really thick accent, but there are captions on the screen, even though they placed them pretty poorly so that they're cut off.
We proudly introduce and invite you to join the Monat Visionary Founders Pool. Starting right now and until June 2025, you can earn shares and own a piece of the Monat succession. Anyone can be part of the Visionary Founders Pool, from those newly enrolled to our highest brackets.
What this means is that for the next year, Monat is offering a pool of money where 1% of their commissionable revenue is going to be paid out on a quarterly basis to the reps who qualify for the pool. The opportunity to join the Founders Pool is open to all new and current reps, but of course there's all kinds of hoops that you have to jump through. You have to hit and maintain certain ranks by certain dates in order to qualify. You'll get 1 share of the Founders Pool if you hit these requirements by next June, but you'll get 2 shares of the pool if you hit these requirements by this September. It's a bit confusing, but all you really need to know is that the company will be having a pool of money that they're going to be paying out to reps in different ratios depending if they achieve certain goals within a certain time frame. And if you hit these goals within the next year, you're going to secure your spot in the Founders Pool, and you're going to get paid out on a quarterly basis for the rest of your time in Monat. They keep using the term shares, like reps are going to get 1 or 2 shares of the pool, but please know that this is not the same thing as having shares or stocks in a company. The reps don't own a piece of the company, they're not shareholders, they're not investors, they're not entitled to anything. The term shares is only referring to the amount of money from the pool a person gets. So of course there's 2 sides to every story. There is the side that the reps are telling you, and then there's the truth. From the perspectives of the current market partners in the company, this is the best thing to ever happen to them. How incredible is it that the company is generous enough to offer us the life-changing opportunity to earn founder shares? The market partners are taking to their social media to rave about how unbelievable this opportunity is, and how if you join the company right now, you're going to become richer than your wildest imagination, right? A tale as old as time. It's actually hilarious to watch the market partners try and explain how it all works, because they're getting facts wrong left and right, and they have no idea what they're talking about. And here's some examples of that. Here's a piece of a live stream that 2 market partners did where they're talking about how much money they're going to make if they earn the founder shares, and pay attention to the numbers they're throwing around.
Okay, so let's say that I earn my 2 shares, right? What does that mean? Like, what does that look like?
So the company will say they set aside like a few $1,000,000 and of profits, because they said that we're turning like $300 million in profits or revenue monthly. So they're gonna take a piece of that, and at the end of the quarter, they are going to allocate out. So say 10 people got it. It will be way more than 10 people. They're going to take that pot of gold and they're going to divvy it out to those people based on however many shares they have. So they're basically giving us a piece of their profits. Can I even say like what I estimated? Am I allowed to say that?
I mean, sure.
I estimated, having no idea how many people are actually going to qualify for it, based off of old numbers from 2 years ago of people.
Such a CPA. I'm like,
It was because I'm so precise, like estimate, don't hold me to this, but we estimated about $5,000 per share per quarter.
Funny how she says that she's so precise and then she continues to spew factually incorrect numbers. Two important figures that she's throwing out there. First, she said that Monat is doing $300 million in revenue monthly, which is absolutely false. Monat is doing about $300 million in revenue annually, but based on some of the math we saw earlier in this video, it looks like they might actually be on track to only do like $200 million this year. Then she goes on to inaccurately estimate that people will be getting $5,000 per share per quarter, insinuating that if you have 2 shares, you could be getting paid up to $10,000 per quarter or $40,000 per year. That is a big claim, huge, and it's not even true. You're telling me that if I join Monat right now, I have a shot at making 40 grand a year just based on the founder shares alone? No, this is 100% factually false. She did her math completely wrong and she's spewing false information. But like wildfire, it spreads throughout the company. Here's another rep I saw claiming the same $40,000 figure. It says on her sticky note that if she hits the rank of MMM by September, then she's gonna get 2 shares for a minimum of $40K. And at the bottom, she says a minimum would be an extra $40,000 a year just for doing what you're already doing, on top of what you and I already get. No, you're not. You're not gonna make 40 grand a year from the founders pool. I'm sorry. What a crazy thing to believe, because it's just wrong. Here's another market partner spreading misinformation.
Okay, listen up, girly pops. Where are the girls that are looking to make another source of income online? What if I told you that I had an opportunity where you can actually earn shares in a multi-billion-dollar beauty company? You heard it right. Forbes always says the best time to join a company is when they first launch. There is truth to that. The company that I'm partnered with has been around for less than 10 years, one of the fastest growing beauty brands in the world, and quite frankly, we're just getting started. A company just announced they're opening up something called the Visionary Founders Pool. Basically, you can earn 1 to 2 shares in a billion-dollar company. The cool thing about this is instead of the founder share pool being at $0 as if we just started our company, the founder shares pool is starting at $300 million. I know that everyone's out here talking about building another source of income, but the new it girl thing is being able to say that you have shares in a beauty company. You're interested in hearing how to help you build a business partnered with this brand and secure these shares. Guys, this is life-changing. Comment me in the comments and I'd love to connect with you.
Here's the issue though. You're not earning shares in a company. You're earning shares of a founders pool, of a commissions pool. And also, Monat is not a quote multi-billion-dollar company. In fact, the founders pool announcement video I showed you earlier, Ray Urdaneta himself said, quote, "Join us on the road to be a $1 billion company." They're not there yet. That's just their hope and a dream that they're gonna get there one day. But it's not looking so good. Saying you heard that right that confidently while being completely wrong is crazy. And again, this $300 million figure is popping up. I don't know where they're getting it from, but it's not accurate. Sure, they may have made around $300 million last year in revenue, but we have no way to tell what the rest of 2024 is gonna bring. Everything is just a projection at this point. These girls are stating everything as fact, and it's just not true. It's misleading. Okay, you want to see something so painfully sad and funny at the same time? Watch this.
What if I told you I had an opportunity where you can earn shares in a multi-billion-dollar beauty company? Heard that right! My company just announced that they're opening up something called the Visionary Founders Pool. Basically, you can earn 1 to 2 shares in a multi-billion-dollar company. Forbes always says the best time to join a company is at the very start, the launch. There's truth to that. However, the company that I've been with for 4 years, we've been around for almost 10 years now, one of the fastest growing beauty companies in the world. Quite frankly, we're just getting started. The cool thing about this is instead of the founder share pool being at 0, as if we just started, the shares start at $300 million. I'm sorry, what? I know there are people out there who want an extra source of income. Being able to say that you have shares in a beauty company, that's the new it girl thing. If you'd love to learn more about partnering with this brand and securing these shares, comment me below and I'd love to connect.
It's just so freaking comical. I can't. I can't. I'm losing my mind. This, my friends, is how misinformation spreads like wildfire in MLMs. One person does their math wrong. One person misinterprets a piece of information, and then they take to their social media to be so confidently wrong, and then other people in the company copy it and spread it almost verbatim. It's like a really bad game of telephone where people heard Ray, the co-founder, use the term shares and billion-dollar company, and then they take it completely out of context and manipulate it into something that doesn't exist, all in the name of sounding really impressive to intentionally deceive people into joining Monat. Fortunately for us, we do have one reliable source of information to go to for some clarity on this whole founders pool situation, and that is Toni's husband, Jay. Remember that Toni, who we talked about earlier, was the very first ever market partner, and the day after Monat announces this founders pool, Jay does a live stream on his Instagram breaking down how it all works. And his perspective is really unique and valuable because Jay and Toni were at the tippy top of the pyramid, and 98% of the company fell in their downline. So when they go into their back office and they see the numbers on how their team is performing, they're seeing a representation of 98% of the company's revenue. He is the perfect person to give his perspective on how much he believes the founder shares are going to be worth. And because he was terminated from Monat, he owes them nothing, and he's able to share this information freely without fearing repercussions from the company. It is a 12-minute live stream, so I'm going to be slicing and dicing a little bit to get to the good stuff, but listen to this. This is crazy.
This pool is based on 1% of commissionable volume. It's not based on total volume. It's not based on profit. You don't own a part of the company. It's nothing like that. It is 1% of commissionable volume is put into a pool for all the people that qualify for it. Now, that sounds like a lot of money to some people. It sounds like a little bit of money to some people. So I would just challenge anybody that's watching me right now to know, what is 1% of commissionable volume? What is Monat's commissionable volume every month? I do know what the volume was running through our organization. And we had about 98% of the company under us. So we would see 98% of the total volume every month when we would look in the back office. At least I think that's what I was seeing. I have absolutely no idea. That's just what I was being presented with. So back in 2020, that commissionable, that volume was up around $70 million a month. A lot of money. Recently, over the past year or so, that monthly volume has been around 24 million a month.
That's a huge bomb to drop right there. He just alleged that in 2020, at the height of Monat's business, they were selling about $70 million per month, and now in the past year, it's dropped to like 24 million a month. Well, that's not good. That's a sign of a struggle for sure. That's not what you want to hear, that the company is allegedly selling about a third of the amount of product they were just a few years ago. Yikes.
So let's just say 25 million in volume a month. Well, that's not what the commissionable volume is. The commissionable volume takes out all the sales, right? All the flash sales and all the things that have zero CV. No one makes commission on. And we had always thought and / been told in various forms that in general, 35% of the volume was not commissionable. Those were flash sales, those were zero CV sales, et cetera, et cetera. So I wrote this down so I wouldn't forget, so bear with me for a second. So if you have $25 million a month going through in volume, and you deduct 30% of that, that gives you $7.5 million that you're taking out that no one's making commissions on. So if you multiply that 17.5 times 3, because there's 3 quarters, that's what the pool would be based on, that gives you a pool value of $52,500,000. But you're only taking 1% of that for the actual pool that you're going to be paying people out of, right? So that is obviously 1% of that is $525,000. Everybody follow the math on that?
It's okay if you zoned out and you didn't follow his math on that. I do know the comp plan very well. I was following what he was saying, and I can vouch that his estimations and his math do make perfect sense. But where you need to tune back in is where he arrived at the estimate that there will be $525,000 in the founders pool each quarter. This is the amount of money that's going to be split between the market partners. So when you hear these other people saying the pool starts at 300 million, or they're making 300 million a month or a year, whatever, these grand numbers. Those are not accurate. What's more accurate is that it's going to be in the few $100,000 that's going to be split between everybody every quarter. And here's how that breaks down even further.
So if you have a pool that the value of it to the field is $525,000, well, if you have 1,000 people in the pool, that's $525 per person in that pool based on the numbers that I just worked out. If you've got 3,500 people in the pool, that's $150 a person. So again, those numbers are just based on what we were familiar with, what I was familiar with, not making any financial claims one way or another if I'm right. I think I'm more right than wrong, but highlights of all this. In general, Monat's volume per month has been around $23, $24 million. Let's round that up, $25 million a month. Deduct the 30% for the things that aren't paid. That's where I got that 17.5. You multiply that by 3. And you all saw where I went with all that. That's very easy to trace all those numbers.
What he just broke down is that he estimates that people in the founders pool are going to be getting like a few $100 from it. His math results in the shares being worth significantly less than what we were hearing people boasting about earlier. This ain't no $40,000 a year. But when you have somebody who was at the top of the pyramid break it down with actual figures and easy to follow logic, the founders pool doesn't sound nearly as impressive. And sure, he did not show us like exact screenshots or records of these numbers, so we are kind of forced to take his word for it, but I'm of the opinion that this is a guy who's got nothing to lose. He's already been terminated from the company. What would be the point in lying about this now? Now to take his credibility a step further, remember how earlier the market partners kept saying 300 million, 300 million. Jay acknowledges this 300 million figure in his comments of this live stream. He says, so my math is 100% correct. I didn't realize that Monat said the pool is 300 million. That 300 million is the current yearly volume. Divide that by 12 and that's 25 million per month, which is exactly what I said the monthly volume is. And that makes my estimated quarterly pool amount correct too. Plus or minus $525,000 per quarter. Divide that by the people in the pool and you get the payout per person. So I guess it is the company that's throwing around this 300 million figure, but it's the reps that are misinterpreting it. It's not $300 million being split between everybody. It's 1% of that is being split between everybody. Like I said, it's a bad game of telephone. People are just hearing certain numbers and they're turning it into whatever they believe it is. And then they go on their social media and they spew it as fact. It is wild. The last thing I'll say about this founders pool situation is that people have to remember the more people in the pool, the worse the opportunity is. It's counterproductive for reps to be getting on their Instagram and singing the praises of the new founders pool opportunity to try and get people into the company, because in reality, you should want to be in the founders pool, but you should not want to bring everybody else with you. The more people splitting the pot, the less each individual person gets. It's common sense, but as we've seen a lot throughout this video, there's not much critical thinking going on here. No critical thinking, just hopes and dreams and panic and scrambling. Just taking the company's flashy words and promises and running with it like members of MLMs always do, without questioning it too much, because when you start to question things, then there are consequences. And speaking of which, let's dig into Toni's lawsuit, because the drama just keeps on coming, doesn't it? The following week after the founder shares are announced, she files her amended complaint in her lawsuit against Luis and Ray Urdaneta, the founders of the company. And we all have Chelsea Suarez to thank for getting her hands on this lawsuit and so graciously sending it to me so that I could use it in this video. I was searching for it in the public records way longer than I'd like to admit, and I thought, I wonder if Chelsea has it. I texted her and literally less than 60 seconds later, she sent it to me. So thank you, Chelsea, for your service. Again, it's another long lawsuit with super juicy accusations, so I'll just summarize those for you. Toni alleges that Monat has, quote, repeatedly underpaid her commissions and that she was making over $100,000 per month in commissions for 7 years straight, but recently her commissions have been reduced to less than a quarter of that sum. Toni alleges that Ray and Luis have defamed her within the company, making it so that her downline members would quit and so that new members would be dissuaded from joining Toni's team. So therefore, she's alleging that she's suffered loss of income thanks to the misinformation Ray and Luis have spread about her, and she's seeking $2.75 million from Monat in damages. She then goes on to claim that Monat was not forthcoming with changing their compensation plan and that she was not paid appropriately according to what the comp plan said that she should have been paid. And interestingly, she does include an exhibit that does in fact show two different versions of the compensation plan. There's an old version and a new version. To my knowledge, I don't remember Monat ever announcing that their compensation plan was changing, and from Toni's lawsuit, it doesn't sound like they notified the reps of that either. Some of the most notable differences are that it used to be that you didn't need to start recruiting any new people until you got to the 5th rank in the company if you wanted to continue to move upwards. Now, with the current version of the compensation plan, you need to start recruiting at only the 2nd rank if you want to rank up any further. In the old version, you could rank up to market builder without needing your teammates below you to hit certain ranks. Now, in the current version, if you want to get to market builder, you have to have at least one person below you at the rank of managing market partner. And the way the commission percentages are broken down is slightly different between the two versions. Basically, all you need to know is that the new version of the compensation plan makes it harder for people to rank up. And it is alleged that the company just changed it at some point without notifying the market partners, which is kind of similar to what we heard earlier with the alleged formula changes too. Toni then goes on to say that she met with the Urdanettas and raised these concerns, and she was essentially brushed off and there was no resolution. And instead, they started to punish Toni based on a bunch of unjustified supposed compliance violations. This says, in short, Toni has been threatened that if she didn't stop asking questions or searching for an explanation for the Monat's corporate behavior, her livelihood and those of her downline members would be removed completely and without recourse. Toni continued to press for answers to the questions of commission drops, and as a result, she was terminated from her role with Monat in May of 2024. And then listen to this. This is wild. As a result of her termination, Toni has had her access to her commissions revoked, and her downline team has been absorbed by the defendant Monat, which has unjustly enriched Monat at the expense of Toni. Remember that Toni was the very first market partner. She is the top of the pyramid. Typically, when somebody quits or is terminated from an MLM, they're removed and their whole downline just rolls up to the next person. But there wasn't anybody above Toni, and she didn't have an upline, so her whole team and therefore all of her commissions earnings are given to the Urdanettas. That's insane. At one point in all of this, I was thinking, why would they want to get rid of their number one rep? Why would they want to get rid of the number one income earner? But now it all makes sense. Rather than having to pay Toni all of those commissions, they just eliminate her and they essentially take her place, and the Urdanettas get to keep all those commissions for themselves. In a nutshell, Toni was alleging that Monat was being shady about their commission structure and their payments. Toni called them out. Ray and Luis took that as a threat, and so they started dragging Toni's name through the mud throughout the company so that she wouldn't be liked or trusted. And therefore, her commissions would decline until she was eventually terminated so that Ray and Luis could inherit what was left of her downline and take the earnings for themselves. That is such a bad look if that's true. But it resembles so many of the cult-like tactics that we speak about all the time regarding MLMs. Keep people close to you as long as they are serving you, and then as soon as they start to show signs of questioning things or not being as easily manipulated by you anymore, then you cast them out to protect yourself. And here we have arrived to the final section of this video. I started the notes for this video about 3 weeks ago, and I've just been adding to it ever since. This is absolutely an evolving story, and I'm sure I'll have follow-up videos in the future. In fact, I'm sure without a doubt that by the time this gets edited and uploaded, there's already going to be new developments that I wish I could have included. But to wrap up this video, I'm going to rapid fire a bunch of top Monat leaders who have recently quit in the past few days to go to different companies. First, we have Kendall Weldon. She was at the top of Monat. She was in the company for 8 years. She had a team of 95,000 people below her. And recently, she's joined the MLM company LifeWave, which looks like it sells phototherapy patches called the X39 patches. So keep an eye out for this. This is the next grift. They never say the name of the company. They just talk about the patch that's so life-changing, but this is what it is. Another MLM called LifeWave. They sell these weird patch things. She's already enrolled 200 people, and she's gotten to the second from the top rank in 1 week, and she's clearly taking a lot of her Monat friends with her, including Joey Kimbrough. Joey Kimbrough also reached the top rank of Monat. She was part of the $1 Million Club. She was the leader of Team Momentum, which is a really big team in Monat. A ton of people under her who has now also joined LifeWave with her husband Kyle, and it only took them 9 days to achieve the top rank in LifeWave. Next, we have Connie Sanchez, who is also at the top rank of Monat, another huge leader in the $1 Million Club. She's now seen promoting for LifeWave and Olive Tree people, which is kind of confusing. Next, there's Ashley Vasquez. She also reached the top rank of Monat. She was in the $1 Million Club and she went to LifeWave. And we have Victoria Alario, top rank of Monat, team of 4,000 below her. in the $1 Million Club, and she moved over to Olive Tree People. And I've got my eye on about 8 other Monat top earners that I feel are at risk of leaving any second. I feel like we're truly living in a moment where Monat market partners must make the decision to either jump the ship or go down with it. And to see so many top leaders deciding to leave, it's sending waves of panic throughout the company for those who are still left. I know this is a stupidly long video, but I wanted it to be a one-stop shop for all things Monat news and drama recently. And this video encompasses everything that's happened in the past 2 months, as of today, Sunday, June 23rd, when I'm filming this. And actually, it's now Monday the 24th because it's past midnight, because I've been filming this for 4 hours now. I film all of my videos after my baby goes to bed for the night, and this has taken me eons to get through. But that's okay, because I think it's important. I'm sure with time there will be even more and more chaos that ensues, and I'm definitely going to be monitoring it and making follow-up videos if necessary. I swear, like, every week something new happens and I'm just adding to my notes, but there comes a point where I've just got to cut myself off and get this video out, right? So for the purposes of today's video, this is the end, but I have a feeling I will be back with follow-ups in the future. And I'm excited to watch the dumpster fire unfold in real time. And with that, that's everything I have for you for this deep dive style video. Thanks again to Paired for sponsoring. You can visit my link in the description box below. This is going to give you a 7-day free trial plus 25% off Paired Premium. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you, and I'll see you in my next one real soon.